So, hello everyone. Long time no hear. To be honest, I am a little bit under the weather at the moment. So a bit of a cold that grabbed me, and I'm still not quite over it. But yeah, I'm kind of getting tired a little bit of hanging around here and waiting for it to go away. So here's something that I just got yesterday. It's a new product for X-Plane 10, and it comes from a company where we haven't really heard very much from in the past years probably. It's quite some time ago that Reality XP has really changed or brought out something new. The more surprised I was when, not directly but indirectly, I kind of found out that there apparently is a GTN650 750 integration that works for X-Plane. Now, when I found out a couple of weeks ago and I looked at their webpage, they said that the only version they have is for 32-bit X-Plane. And that they would come out with a 64-bit sometime later. And for me that was, well, no. I'm not going to start spending money on a 32-bit plugin because I'm not flying 32-bit X-Plane. There's absolutely no way that I'm going to switch to 32-bit just to have this tool. So I kind of put it aside and stopped thinking about it. Then I was on, there was some kind of flight sim day here in Munich, near Munich, and there I saw that someone has opened X-Plane and they had the GTN750 up on their screen. And I asked them, does that already work in 64-bit or is that still 32-bit? And they said, no problem, it's 64-bit all right. And believe it or not, it is indeed, and you can download it from this webpage, from the realityxp.com webpage, so www.reality-xp.com, and here it is. So you basically what you do is you have two options. You have the GTN750 and you have the GTN650. The 650 is sort of the small size thing, and 750 is the full size with a good sized large map. And you download the e-commerce installer, and it's basically a Flight 1 installer. So that means you download that program, then you need to run it, and then you need to provide payment details so that that you get that tool installed. Now, Flight 1, and here we come to the second option. Flight 1 actually has pretty much the same product. There is a GTN 750 and a GTN 650 for FSX, and also, and you can see that here, there is a version for FSX and there is a version for prepared. And I got myself the prepared version as well. And you wonder how come that both kind of the same tool comes from two different companies. Well, for some reason both companies have started to approach the same solution, and that is both solutions for X-Plane as well as prepared or FSX are based on a Garmin trainer software. So Garmin offers the 750 650 product. It's a 1.9 gigabyte download. It's a zip file. There is one difference though. When you download the Reality XP version for X-Plane, they don't tell you where to get that trainer from. What they do is, as soon as you have gone past the payment, it will start to download that trainer software. And because I don't have a very fast internet, that took pretty long, and about 100 megabyte before it was over, the connection stalled, and I had to start all over again this morning. And it took flippin' ages. I would have preferred to download that myself, like you do in the Flight 1 case. In the Flight 1 case, they just tell you you need to get this here. So they give you instructions and a link from where you can download the 2 gigabyte free GTN product. You install that one, and that's it. Okay. Anyway, I managed to get it downloaded. It got installed in the case for XP automatically, all of that, and after that, indeed, it was working more or less out of the box, so I didn't have to do anything more. Price-wise, the two are sort of similar. The Flight 1 version, and don't be surprised, my voice might cut out from time to time here. The Flight 1 version costs $49.95 for FSX, Steam Edition and SP2, but it costs $64.95 for Prepared. So, as usual, they're going to charge us Prepared users more than FSX users for the same thing. With the probably, I'm not sure if that really holds, but they're claiming basically that that you have to pay more for the Prepared version because it's a non-entertainment license, and it's therefore more expensive. I'm not sure if they are paying that difference to anyone or if they're just making money out of it. But nevertheless, I got myself and I paid the $64, and what I have now is I actually only got the GTN750. To tell you the truth, it's a little bit too expensive for my taste to buy all four. That means both options here and both options from Flight 1. That was a little bit too much. It was expensive enough now that I got one for each simulator. But that one is actually quite worth it. There's one major difference again between the two. These here for FSX and Prepared, they actually integrate with the panels. So you will be able to see the GTN in many airplanes, and especially GA aircraft. They often even provide already a configurable GPS, so you can specify whether or not you want the GTN750 integrated, and they will do it for you automatically. That's actually quite easy. In the case of the Reality XP for the X-Plane, there is no panel integration, at least not that I have seen, and I'm not sure that they have foreseen this. What I'm wondering though is when you look here in the back, you see some kind of Garmin integration, but that could just be a picture, you know, like. So I'm not sure that that exists. For the moment, these things pop up as well, the X-Plane 2D window type things. I'm going to show you in a moment anyway how that looks. There's also some more differences. The Flight 1 solution allows you to create flight plans from outside. I haven't yet checked which of the usual flight planning tools would allow me to create flight plans compatible, but you can place these in a specific folder, and then you can import them into the database of the GTN750. They kind of simulate the little memory, SD memory card thingies, and they will store things in that simulated SD card stuff. So the real GTN devices, they have card slots, and at least one of the cards contains all the databases, the maps and all that. And on the other card, or on some other card in memory, they will store additional information. So in the flight 1 case, you can create flight plans from outside and import them into the catalog, as it's called. I'll show you in a moment. And you can also create user waypoints and you can import them somehow. Whereas in the case of the X-Plane, I haven't really seen this kind of import capability. So you can create your flight plan inside the device and you can store it in the SD. That means once you have created a flight plan, it remains in the database and you can recall it again. But you cannot create one from outside and just import it. At least I haven't seen anything in the documentation regarding that. So that's the main difference, and what I'm going to show you now is how this looks in the respective simulator. Right, let me quickly bring down the sound a little bit from this aircraft. Okay, so that's better, I hope. So what we see here is not a standard X-Plane, but it's one of my favorite GA aircraft. That's the Coronado Bonanza A36, and I have started the engine to not deplete the batteries, and I've also turned on the avionics master here. And we see our usual standard X-Plane 430s. Okay. Now in this panel, you could actually put in two GTN750s, the smaller versions. They would actually fit into the slot here of a Garmin 430, or you can place one GTN750 here. Problem is, in X-Plane you do not have this as a gauge, as that's called in FSX and Prepar3D. A gauge is a file, is a piece of program that can be placed in panels, 2D and also 3D panels, the virtual panels. In that case, this is not working. So what I have is I have programmed a key, and that key shows or hides the Garmin window. You can also see here, this is the way you can have maximum 2 units per aircraft. I only have unit number 1 set, so that's a GTN750, and here are a couple of options. So there are options that you can turn on or off. Basically the way they have done it is that it's a plug-in, and that plug-in is controlling the interface to the trainer. The trainer software, by the way, you could actually start it separately, completely without a flight simulator. The trick in both products is that they run the Garmin software in the background, and they have found some kind of a graphical, whatever you call that, that allows you to get the output from the tool. Instead of showing it in a separate program window, they actually show it inside the simulator, and they've done that really well, because I can't see any performance degradation from that, at least none that I'm aware of. The simulator works with or without, it works the same way. So that's the thing. There's a lot of menus. Now I'm not going to give you a big introduction into the GTN 750 here. There are videos out there, and it would actually take longer. I will only show you sort of the basic features, and you can then go and if you so wish, you can get yourself one and try it yourself. Okay, so this window can be resized and moved. That works very well, no problem. The Flight 1 Prepar3D FSX version actually has this weather option active. We don't have that here. There is a traffic option. The thing is, I have yet, and no, hang on, where's the yeah, and there's also a TCAS option, but it seems as if you cannot change the TCAS range, and I don't have any aircraft at the moment, so I haven't been able to verify that that TCAS option is working. There's a terrain option, so you kind of get a terrain map. So it's red at the moment because we are on the ground, but that should change colors as soon as we are up in the air. In theory, there's charts. I haven't yet found out if you can actually import charts. So for me, this is not an option that will work. The flight plan option is something that you would use. It has detected that we are at WC Airport, Echo Delta Lima Victor, and here's the catalog. I have already created 2 routes. This one isn't really a route, this is just an experiment. So basically what you can do is you can select one of the routes. In this case I would actually delete it again because there's no point, but that is actually one I would activate. You could also invert, or you can have a preview. A preview shows you the route. I guess some of you will recognize that this is my standard test route in the try and fly scenarios. And I use procedures. Yes, procedures do work. So if you go back again, and if you just stay here and you press on the airport, you can actually load procedures, and here you can then select from existing departures. So it's a SONIP, for example, and you can also, so you load the departure, and then you could, oh no, hang on, yeah, I'm still learning myself here, and then you can I think you need to go back. What was that? Yeah, departure. Okay. So how do I get arrival in here? I haven't really done that much yet with it. Procedures. Let's go to procedures. There we go. There's always, usually there's more than one entry in many of these pages. The arrival procedures for Echo Delta Lima Victor, SOP to 1 Whiskey, for example, and here you can select the runway, SOP to transition. I'm actually wondering, load arrival, and the actual approach would be the ILS-27, and the database, by the way, is from 2016. It is this is rather a new one. The thing is that I was able to use the same trainer for both programs. The Flight 1 only recently actually had used an older version of the GTN trainer, which had a database from last year. But they have changed that in the meantime. So from time to time Garmin updates the trainer with a bit more recent navigation data, and it looks like the product can use the newer versions. At the moment it's 6011 or something like that. I'm not sure if you can automatically update things, but I would say that there's a good chance that at least once a year or so we might be able to get slightly updated navigation data. So this is pretty recent stuff that you get at the moment. Okay, so without going too much into details, let's select the approach ILS-27 and load the approach. Yeah, and there you go. There's our flight plan. If you want to have a look at it, you can go into the map view and look at this. So this is one of the really good things about the GTN. And what you see here works more or less in both versions, for FSX prepared as well as X-Plane. So it is pretty much the same smooth, quick thing. Here you can see the next waypoint, which is Lima Victor 200. You can go on the direct button button, and then you can choose another direct to from the flight plan. I'm pretty sure you can also enter a new waypoint, one that doesn't exist. And you can actually change what the autopilot should follow up. So this would be the VOR localizer. This is actually the GPS, and that's the mode you want to have. And it integrates with the X-Plane autopilot. Therefore, I'm not sure what happens if you use this on an airplane that uses a completely different, its own interface. One thing I can see here is that there's a bit of a switch thing going on. It looks like the GTN is kind of interfering here. So at the moment I don't seem to be able to switch the I don't seem to be able to switch this. And then we get this, but it seems to work. I have done one test flight and it followed the route as expected, so there was absolutely no problem with the route. Yeah, that's it. That's the X-Plane version. As I say, at the moment I'm not sure that you can actually put it here into the cockpit. It has to go like this. I'm going to check it out though. There might be or maybe a way, but not sure. The thing is, these are 3D components, and I'm not sure if you can replace all that by somehow plugging this in. I have absolutely no idea if that's possible. I'm going to check it out anyway, because when you see this here, although this is not a plug-in as such, this is the equivalent of a gauge in FSX. So I don't know if there is a way of getting that into at least some of the airplanes that exist. Let's have a look at the FSX version, prepared version of it. So here you see an integration with one of the payware aircraft. This is the A2A Cessna 172, and there you can actually use a configurator. There are several ways of doing this. You can do it from the outside, but if I remember correctly, I think you can also do it from payload. It's AFK. Anyway, there is a 2D window, so you can always pull out the GTN from its position. Okay, and yeah, I thought that
TOS system test okay.
That was the GTN main, no, not main panel. Clipboard, mini controls, payload, map, quick radius, maintenance, AFK. I can't actually remember if you can do it from the inside, but you can definitely you can configure it from the outside. Okay, and yeah, I'm going to pull it out now. So as you can see, it looks pretty much the same, which is no surprise, by the way, because the GTN is based on the same software in the background as in X-Plane. There is some small differences. First of all, there is some kind of weather integration here, apparently. Now, whether or not that really works, I have no idea. So, I don't know. We'll have to check FISB weather. Yeah, could be that it's actually not working. This kind of connects weather. I have no idea. The option is available, but I'm not sure if it's actually really working, or at least not. It might not be working in Europe because we are in Betse here. There's the terrain option we have seen before. The traffic option definitely works. Here we see some FSX prepared traffic, some AI which I have activated for that purpose so that we can see it. The charts, again, there are no charts available. I'm not sure if there will be charts like in the US. Could be, maybe, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. Then the flight plan, and here we have the interesting thing. If I go to the catalog, you see one, but here comes the thing. Flight 1 has added an option where you can create a GFP file, which is a text file. There's documentation on how to do that, and you can kind of store that flight plan. Either you can activate it right away, or you can store it. If you store it, it's going to be put in here into the catalog. I'm going to delete it again because we don't need it twice. So this import option doesn't exist in the X-Plane version, although I would wish that Reality XP would add something like that in the future, for a future version. That would be great, because that is quite helpful. The rest is pretty much exactly the same, also from a map point of view. And here again, the only thing is that when you use the scroll wheel, then your panel is scrolling with the map. But apart from that, it is exactly the same product. There's no difference. It works the exact same way, and it's based on the same trainer software. That means you don't, if you're one like me with 2 simulator worlds, you can do it with one installation of the Garmin trainer software. You don't have to do it twice. It has automatically picked it up, no problem whatsoever. If you install both, then I would recommend that you get yourself the X-Plane version first and install it first, so that it downloads the trainer software, because it will try and download the trainer software, and you can only continue if it thinks the trainer software has been downloaded. Otherwise your installation might fail. Alright. Yeah, that's it. So that's the GTN750, and in FSX and Prepared, this is actually a gauge, so you can actually go and put this in other airplanes as well. There is some kind of tool that in theory allows you to do this, but it doesn't work here. I'm still trying to figure out what the problem is, but instead of showing me aircraft and panels, it actually shows me weird things. So I can't use it for the moment, but I'm going to figure out what the problem is. And anyway, if you know how to mess around in panels, always make a backup if you do, as usual. It's the same way you would place any other gauge in virtual panels or in 2D panels for airplanes that have 2D panels. It's absolutely the same way. So if you're, for example, if your aircraft has some kind of standard GPS 2D pop-up window, you could actually go and replace the content of that GPS window with the GTN750. That's possible. That's what they've done here. So they basically created a 2D window definition, the panel.cfg file, that brings up the GTN as a 2D pop-up window. Okay, that's it. I'm pretty happy, and I've done 1 or 2 test flights already here with the small GA aircraft. You can integrate these in other aircraft as well. You could have that as a 2D window. That means in theory you could use it for any FSX Prepared, and also for any X-Plane aircraft. Now in X-Plane there's a caveat, and the caveat is that integration with some custom autopilots might not work. And the same thing, by the way, is also for the Prepared FSX environment. There are some add-ons, at least when I read it in the forums, there seem to be add-ons where the autopilot integration between the external program that does this here and the autopilot functions is not working properly. In that case, you cannot use it, but as long as it is using standard features like in X-Plane, the standard X-Plane autopilot, or in FSX and Prepare, the standard autopilot functions, that thing should work, including the autopilot. But again, if you have an aircraft that does not integrate properly with this, you can still use this as a moving map, a built-in moving map, and you can also change the frequencies, by the way, audio panel, intercom, transponder settings. Everything is possible here in this, so you can use these functions even if your autopilot wouldn't work correctly in it. At least that's my understanding. Okay, that's it. I hope that was helpful, and yeah, I'm looking forward to some nice GA flights with a proper GPS now built into the airplanes. That will be fun. Until next time.